The chief of staff's granddaughter dropped millions to have me custom build an airplane model. Everyone thought Jo Care had lost her mind, dropping 6 million on a model. That kind of money is enough to buy a real plane. But little did they know, this model of mine was whipped up using a newly awakened tech system. Its speed can hit Mach 10, and it's loaded with a top-tier combat system. It can instantly obliterate even the latest American stealth fighters. When this unbelievably sick fighter jet was put on display, everyone attending Elder Joe's birthday banquet was completely dumbfounded. The streamlined fuselage looked incredibly aggressive. Just looking at its exterior, you'd think it was absurdly fast. It hit you with pure sci-fi impact. This model is way too cool. If only we could actually build a fighter jet like this. Jo K's eyes instantly lit up. Just seeing this design made her feel the 6 million was totally worth it. When I placed the order, I specifically asked for a bunch of extra features. Even though it can't really fly, the controls feel exactly like a real plane, Jo Care said, brimming with joy. She couldn't be more thrilled with this model. Everyone gathered around the plane and popped open the canopy. The sight inside made everyone's jaws drop even further. It was completely different from traditional fighter jet designs. All the functions were integrated into LCD panels, and even the flight stick looked absolutely badass. It looked exactly like a spaceship cockpit straight out of a sci-fi movie. The generals in the room were itching to get their hands on it. They were dying to climb right into the model and take it for a spin. Is model factory tech really this crazy nowadays? If this layout could become reality, I'd seriously want to come out of retirement. Flying a jet like this would be incredible. What are you dreaming about? It's just a model. You really think it can take to the skies? Zhao Tianxun scoffed. Care, since you're the one who ordered it, go ahead and jump in. Figure out all the features first. That way, you can show it off properly when Elder Joe gets here. Alright. Jo Care couldn't wait either. She hopped right into the cockpit without a second thought. The screens instantly lit up, and a robotic voice chimed in. Pilot entry detected. Bind identity? Oh, wow, this is pretty smart. It's got so many features. It's set up just like the real deal. Everyone gasped in awe. Jo Care grew even more excited. She felt like it was money incredibly well spent. Iris scan successful. Voice capture successful. DNA capture successful. Pilot identity secured. Initiate startup? Start the jet. Jo Care responded, dying to know what the simulated startup felt like. The robotic voice sounded again. Cockpit closing. Unauthorized personnel, please step back 20 meters. You may connect via mobile device to spectate. The features on this model are insane. It's packed with so many smart configurations. Once the cockpit closes, we can't see anything from the outside. Everyone pulled out their phones and, sure enough, picked up a signal. After getting Jo K's permission, they connected to the jet. The screen in front of her also displayed their phone camera feeds. Both sides could see each other. Suddenly, flames erupted from the jet's exhaust, followed by a deafening roar. Holy crap, this is way too realistic. The military officers looked completely shocked. How is this any different from a real plane? Could this model actually taxi and take off? What are you talking about? No matter how real it looks, it's just a model. At most, it'll just roll forward a little bit. No way this thing can fly. Let's see how fast it can go. Someone yelled out excitedly. Well, growing up in the military compound, Jo Care was no stranger to operating vehicles. Here I go, taxi and takeoff. She pulled the joystick, simulating a runway taxi. She thought it would just slide forward a bit, but out of nowhere, the fighter jet instantly accelerated. The very next second, it shot straight into the clouds. The military officers' smiles instantly froze on their faces. A few seconds later, it turned into total panic. What on earth is going on? Isn't this just a model? Wait, how is it actually flying? Zhao Tian couldn't stay calm anymore. The one flying that jet was Elder Joe's precious granddaughter. She wasn't even a professional pilot. If anything happened, who could possibly take the blame? He frantically screamed, Care, land it right now. You can't fly that. Jo Care was fully panicking now too. You guys said this was just a model. Why is it acting like the real thing? It's actually flying. She hurriedly tried to land, but a mechanical voice rang out. Takeoff in progress. Forced landing carries a high risk of crashing. Care jumped in fright, completely too scared to force the landing. Everyone watched helplessly as the jet pierced through the clouds, utterly dumbfounded. Right when they had no idea what to do, Zhou Zhenlong and Zhou Govua were currently meeting with the Eagle Nation's military expert, Smith, because the Eagle Nation had been constantly invading Sha Nation's airspace for reconnaissance. And Sha Nation was helpless to stop it. Smith couldn't even hide his arrogant and overbearing attitude. Zhou Zhenlong, his face completely cold, cut right to the chase. Spit it out. Why are you really here? Cut the crap about coming to celebrate my birthday. If you have something to say, just say it. Haha, as expected of Zhou Zhenlong. Nice and straightforward, this time around. Besides the birthday wishes, I really do have some business to discuss. Go on, I'm listening. I want Sha Nation to give up Region 97 on the southern border. Zhou Zhenlong burned with fury. Absolutely out of the question. Sha Nation will not yield a single inch of land. Besides, you shouldn't even be coming to me for this. Go find the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Hey, Elder Zhou holds a supreme position. Your words carry heavy weight. Besides, Region 97 is way too hard to defend anyway. Constantly clashing with the border rivals over this piece of land just isn't worth it. You might as well give it up. It would be a good thing for Sha Nation too. Let me tell you right now, there is absolutely no way in hell. This conversation is over. If your country wants to stick its nose into our territorial disputes, then just bring it on. We aren't afraid of any provocation. Zhenlong stood up, ready to kick his guest out. Don't be so hasty. It's totally fine if you don't agree. Then let's just see what you're really made of. We'll see if Sha Nation actually has what it takes to hold on to it. Oh, and here's another little gift for you, Elder Zhou. Our Eagle Nation just developed 2 brand new reconnaissance planes. They fly extremely high and unbelievably fast. And their stealth capabilities are just ridiculously good. They've already entered Sha Nation's airspace. And your radar didn't even pick them up. Smith smirked wickedly. That's absolutely impossible. No one in the entire world has that kind of tech. Zhou Zhenlong didn't buy a single word of it. If the radars couldn't even detect them, the enemy could strike at any moment completely undetected. That would be utterly terrifying. If they really had that kind of technology, wouldn't the states just do whatever the hell they wanted? They could attack anyone at any time. No one would even be able to fight back. Looks like your intel is a bit outdated, Elder Zhou. 2 of our recon planes are hovering right above your base as we speak. Zhou Zhenlong and Zhou Govua's hearts instantly sank. In the past, whenever American fighters trespassed, even if the radar couldn't get a solid lock, it would at least show their general coordinates. But now, receiving 0 reports meant the radar hadn't picked up a single thing. You're lying through your teeth. Hell, I could just as easily say that Sha Nation's recon planes are flying right over the states right now. Zhou Govua replied coldly, ha ha ha, I knew you wouldn't believe me. Just go to the command room and tap into the comms. You'll see for yourselves. What, too scared? Smith sneered provocatively. What kind of trick are you trying to pull here? Are you trying to hack into our defense systems? Zhou Govua asked in a low, dangerous tone. You're overthinking it. Your defense systems aren't that easy to breach. If you're still that paranoid, I can have the recon planes fly to a specific coordinate. Then you can just look up through your high-powered telescopes. Smith strutted triumphantly toward the command room. Zhou Zhenlong stepped out first, leading the way into the command center. After tuning into the frequency Smith provided, the massive screen instantly lit up. Sure enough, the enemy recon planes were hovering right over the base. Zhou Zhenlong's stomach tied into knots. He clenched his fists, forcing down his boiling rage. Commander, Chief of Staff, a soldier yelled, visual confirmed through the high-powered telescopes. There are 2 enemy aircraft circling directly above the base. But our radars aren't showing a damn thing. The radar operator gritted his teeth in sheer frustration. He was absolutely furious. Well, Elder Zhou, I trust the performance of our new recon planes meets your standards? Smith mocked, his tone dripping with sarcasm. I highly suggest Sha Nation seriously considers my proposal. Faced with this blatant threat, Zhou Zhenlong gritted his teeth in pure fury. Suddenly, someone screamed, Commander, Chief of Staff. We've got an unidentified aircraft flying over the military zone. It's moving at insane speeds. Zhou Zhenlong and Zhou Govua instantly snapped their glares toward Smith, but a flicker of genuine confusion flashed across Smith's eyes too. We only deployed 2. That one definitely isn't ours. Lock onto it, immediately. Order them to land right now, or we're blowing them out of the sky. Zhou Zhenlong was boiling with rage. No good, sir. We can't get a lock. It's way too fast. It's pushing past Mach 5. Zhou Zhenlong's jaw dropped, feeling a bitter lump in his throat. Are we really just gonna let the enemy come and go as they please? Hearing this, Smith laughed even harder. Such an advanced fighter jet. Definitely belongs to the US. It must be a brand new prototype. The clearance is so high, even I didn't get the memo. Looks like our military might just leveled up again. Now, Commander Zhou. We've decided to back the Indians in taking over Sector 97. I'd think long and hard if I were you. Crossing us never ends well. Right as Smith finished bragging, an incoming call from their recon plane popped up. He shot the 2 of them a malicious smirk. And to rub more salt in the wound, he deliberately put it on speaker. This is Smith speaking. What's your report? Sir, an unidentified fighter jet is heading straight for us. Speed exceeds Mach 7, awaiting orders. Smith was completely stunned, stammering, that fast? It has to be one of ours. Did you verify the signal? Have you checked with command? Negative, sir. No other jets were deployed. We confirm it is not ours. The bogey is way too fast. It's right on our tail. How should we proceed? Please advise. The entire command center fell dead silent. Only the pilot's frantic voice echoed through the room. How is this even possible? Smith roared, his face twisted in absolute disbelief. Over Mach 7? Even our state-of-the-art recon planes can't hit those speeds. This is completely insane. Zhou Zhenlong and Zhou Govua exchanged bewildered looks. Besides the US, who else on Earth could build such an advanced jet? If it belonged to Shaw, they would have given them a heads up ages ago. There's no way it would just buzz the base unannounced. Everyone was completely baffled. Meanwhile, Zhou Kerr was freaking out. The plane is going way too fast. She cried out to the ground officer in pure panic, Uncle Zhao, I'm so scared. What do? I have no idea how to fly this thing. Zhao Tian was sweating bullets. Who exactly did you hire to build this model? Call them right now. Ask them how to fly the damn thing. But Zhou Kerr had a death grip on the joystick. How was she supposed to free up a hand to make a call? System detecting inexperienced pilot. Would you like to engage autopilot mode? Simultaneous flight tutorial available. That was absolute music to her ears. She desperately yelled back, yes. Engage autopilot. Quick, teach me how to fly this. The system chirped, autopilot tutorial initiated. Low speed mode activated. Maximum speed set to Mach 7. Maximum cruising altitude, 40,000 meters. The jet didn't just explain the functions. The interface actually displayed step-by-step instructions. It was incredibly intuitive, and even supported voice commands. Zhou Kerr was a quick learner. In less than a minute, she'd basically gotten the hang of it. She finally let out a sigh of relief. And since her phone was still connected, ground officers could see everything happening in the cockpit. Everyone's jaw just hit the floor. Are you kidding me? Its low speed mode hits Mach 7? And it flies at 40,000 meters? That's completely absurd. It's gotta be fake. They're just blowing hot air. It's a miracle the thing can even fly. There's no way it's actually that fast. But, look at its climb rate. It's literally climbing faster than our jets going at full throttle. As the chaos erupted, another beep sounded. Autopilot detected radar tracking. Activating stealth mode, blocking all signals. In an instant, both our base and the Eagle reconnaissance planes completely lost the target on their radars. This scared the living daylights out of everyone. A sudden loss of tracking. It definitely wasn't shot down. It was a technological radar jam. The Eagle pilots were panicking hard. General Smith, sir. We've lost the target's signal. What on earth is going on today? Are we seeing ghosts? Where the hell did this unknown aircraft come from? Get on the horn with command right now. Find out if there's a new prototype being test flown. Meanwhile, Zhou Zhenlong was burning with anger and anxiety. As for Smith, facing the pilot's questions, he had absolutely no idea how to respond. The jet piloted by Zhou Care had already soared into the upper atmosphere. Right then, another system alert chimed through the cockpit. 2 reconnaissance aircraft detected, initiating friend or foe identification. Identification complete, targets confirmed as Eagle Recon planes. Pilots identified as Eagle operatives. Enemy aircraft display superior flight performance and advanced stealth capabilities. Do you wish to execute the shoot-down command? Right there on the jet's display, a high-def live feed of the Eagle planes popped up. It even caught the enemy pilots' faces in crystal-clear detail. It even pulled up the pilots' names and their entire classified dossiers. Commander Zhao Tian was completely blown away. Is this toy model really that overpowered? It actually climbed to an altitude of over 30,000 meters. Chief, why'd I get the feeling that all this data is 100% real? It even caught the enemy planes on camera. And we can clearly see the enemy pilots. How could this possibly be faked? Every single officer instinctively tilted their heads back, staring up at the sky. You can't see a thing from this distance with the naked eye. Go to command and verify this. Find out if we actually spotted any bogies. One of the officers immediately jumped in a car and floored it there. A few minutes later, he came sprinting back. Out of breath, he gasped, news confirmed. There really are 2 Eagle Recon planes snooping right above our base, and our radars can't pick them up at all. Those Eagles are way too arrogant. They're literally using this to threaten us. Elder Zhou and the commander were furious. Zhao Tian completely blew a fuse. He snatched his phone and called Zhou Care. Care, if you can. Shoot those 2 bastards down for me. Can I really do that? Zhou Care was shaking in her boots. After all, she was just a student. How could she dare pull off something like this? Just shoot them down, I'll take the heat for whatever happens. Doesn't that jet have autopilot? If you don't know how to fly it, just turn on the auto attack mode. We have to show those Eagles that our Sha territory isn't a playground for them to act wild in. After shouting that, Zhao Tian nervously locked his eyes on his phone screen. Honestly, he had zero confidence. Could a model really pack actual firepower? But there was no other way. The base's radars and weapons were completely useless right now. We can only pin all our hopes on this model airplane now. Understood. Care heard it all just now, too. Grandpa and Dad are being threatened by the Americans. The US is just throwing their weight around with those 2 advanced recon jets. I order you to shoot down those 2 enemy planes. Zhou Care initiated the auto-attack sequence. Command accepted. Enemy targets locked. Missiles launching. Whoosh, whoosh. 2 missiles roared into the sky. Meanwhile, the 2 American pilots were casually circling their recon jets high above. Suddenly, their radars blared, detecting 2 incoming missiles. And they were already locked on. The missiles were terrifyingly fast. Way faster than their recon jets. The pilots instantly panicked, screaming in terror. General Smith, sir, our planes have been locked on by enemy missiles. While shouting the report, they desperately banked their jets to flee. The enemy missiles are too fast. They're pushing past Mach 10. We can't shake them off. Their voices were trembling with pure terror now. General Smith roared in absolute disbelief. That is utter bullshit. There's no such thing as an anti-air missile that fast. Zhou Zhenlong and Zhou Gohua were completely stunned too. They had absolutely no idea what was going on. But judging from their panicked radio chatter, that mysterious fighter jet had actually launched an attack on them. And the missiles were already in the air. At that exact same moment, the command center's radar also picked up the missile signals. They felt completely numb from the shock. The skies above were already in total chaos, yet they were still completely in the dark. About the true origins of that mysterious jet. Boom, boom, 2 deafening explosions ripped through the air. Everyone just stared at each other in shock. The planes, they were actually shot down. Thrilled and utterly amazed, Zhou Zhenlong bolted out of the command center. He stared up into the sky, desperately searching for the falling wreckage. Even with the naked eye, you could see the thick smoke billowing from the mid-air explosions. The shattered remains of the 2 jets were plummeting to Earth. Quick, move out, now. You must secure the wreckage of those 2 planes and bring it all back to me. Zhou Zhenlong's reflexes were razor sharp, barking out orders instantly. And if any of those pilots bailed out, absolutely do not let them escape. Zhou Govua quickly chimed in. Zhou Zhenlong and Zhou Govua exchanged a quick glance, both seeing the genuine, ecstatic joy in each other's eyes. If they could just get their hands on that wreckage, they might be able to reverse engineer some of the tech. It would massively upgrade our own nation's fighter jet capabilities. Plus, since the enemy planes were taken out, it meant this mysterious new fighter jet was definitely one of our dragon nations without a doubt. Could it be? Had the country actually developed a world-class, top-tier fighter jet after all? General Smith was stomping his feet in sheer rage. How dare you shoot down our planes? This is a direct declaration of war against the United States. And as for that wreckage, nobody is allowed to touch it. I'm contacting our specialist teams right this second. And if any of my pilots survived, you are strictly forbidden from detaining them, and absolutely forbidden from interrogating them. But Zhou Govua's mood right now was completely different from before. They were brimming with confidence, since the Shah nation now possessed the ability to shoot down the United States' most advanced fighter jets. There was naturally no need to take them seriously anymore. He suddenly felt completely emboldened and let out a cold snort. Looking at him with contempt, how dare you invade our Shah nation? You completely deserved to be shot down. Anyone who dares to offend the Shah nation will pay the price, no matter where they hide. Go back and tell your superiors, if you ever dare to violate our airspace again, this will be your fate. Just you wait. Dare to go against us, and the Shah nation will make you regret it. Smith knew that arguing was useless, so he furiously stormed off with his men. Zhou Zhenlong didn't even bother to see them out, and quickly walked back to the command room. Trembling all over with excitement, he ordered, quickly, contact that pilot. Ask him which military region he belongs to. Reporting to the chief of staff. The other party's signal is completely jammed. We can't reach them at all. That mysterious aircraft is flying away into the distance. Its estimated altitude has already broken through 40,000 meters. The radar still can't detect it. We can only observe it using high-powered telescopes. Reporting to the chief of staff and the commander-in-chief. The mysterious fighter jet has flown out of the base's range. Even the high-powered telescopes can't see it anymore. Then immediately contact the other military regions and relevant departments. Find out exactly which unit is testing this new fighter jet. Zhou Zhenlong immediately said, in terms of weapon research and development strength, it seems our Central Military Region's Research Institute is the strongest in the whole country, right? Could any other military region surpass us? Zhou Govua said with a frown, since it's not a United States fighter jet, and it's not ours from the Shah nation. Then whose could it be? While the two were discussing, the person in charge of making inquiries came back to report. We've asked all the units, including the Aviation Administration and all combat zones. They all said they aren't testing any aircraft. Even the Central Military Commission knows absolutely nothing about this. What is going on here? Could it belong to Russia? Zhou Zhenlong's heart sank. Sigh. We really got excited over nothing. Compile this matter into a report and submit it to the higher-ups immediately. Perhaps Russia has already developed an advanced fighter jet. The country must have a response plan. Having experienced such an emotional roller coaster, Zhou Zhenlong didn't even have the mood to write the report himself. He directly handed the task over to his subordinates. Let's go, let's continue watching the military exercise. We can't let this matter ruin the exercise. Zhou Govua also sighed. What a false alarm. Zhou Care saw with her own eyes that the missile had shot down the enemy plane. She was both nervous and excited. Uncle Zhao, did you see that? I shot down both of the enemy's reconnaissance planes. This model airplane is absolutely incredible. Beautifully done. Let's see if the United States dares to be so arrogant in the future. A nearby military officer said with a face full of doubt. Do you guys think this can still be considered a model airplane? I'm afraid, it's already the most advanced fighter jet in the entire world, right? The person who built this plane is definitely not simple. We need to have Care talk to him right away, and recruit him into our Central Military Region's Weapons Research Institute. With a talent like that, he could absolutely develop even stronger weapons for the Shah nation. Since the enemy planes have been shot down, then it's safe to land, Zhao Tian said. Wait until the plane lands. We absolutely must share this good news. Hurry up and tell the chief of the general staff and the commander. Shah country finally has a top-tier fighter jet. No way, I can't land yet. The jet is still running its training program for me. I guess I have to finish the whole tutorial before I can bring it down, Joe Care replied. Then you make sure to pay close attention. Above all, stay safe. Right at that moment, the jet's alert system chimed again. Basic flight controls tutorial, complete. Initiating advanced tutorial, memory constraint protocols, deactivated. With a massive roar, the exhaust flames at the rear of the jet erupted. Thrusters blasting with incredible force, the aircraft suddenly accelerated. It shot off into the distance. Just a second ago, the top speed read Mach 7, and in the blink of an eye, it blasted past 10,000 meters. And it just kept climbing. This is completely insane, Zhao Tian snapped out of his daze. He quickly realized the sheer danger. Care, slow down right now. With acceleration this intense, your body won't be able to handle the G-force. Really? I don't feel any pressure at all, Joe Care replied casually. Could this jet be using some kind of alien tech? How could such violent acceleration not affect the pilot at all? Zhao Tian was absolutely stunned. Everyone knew modern fighters accelerated insanely fast, pushing a pilot's physical limits to the absolute brink. With such massive G-loads, an ordinary person would black out instantly. Yet Joe Care said she was completely fine? What the hell was going on? The other pilots were losing their minds with excitement, all talking over each other. The design of this jet is just light years ahead. They thought of absolutely every single detail. If we can mass-produce this beast, the Americans will never dare act arrogant in front of Shah country ever again. While they were busy marveling, the jet had unexpectedly smashed past Mach 12. Because it was moving so absurdly fast, right down on the deck. The aircraft sliced through the air like a razor-sharp blade. Trailing behind it, it left a massive white vapor trail in its wake. Meanwhile, higher up, two Shah country jets were out on a training patrol. Suddenly, they saw a massive shadow flash right over their canopies. The pilot was totally dumbfounded. Flight 2, did you just see that thing rip past us? No, I didn't see a damn thing. It was way too fast. But wait. Why the hell didn't my radar pick up anything at all? Could we just be hallucinating? Bullshit. One of us making a mistake? Maybe, but it's absolutely impossible that both of us imagined it. Get command on the horn, right now. It could be an incoming enemy missile. The idea that it was a jet never even crossed their minds. I mean, come on, what kind of fighter jet could possibly move that fast? Only an intercontinental or long-range ballistic missile could hit those speeds. When the Eastern Command General received the urgent report, he barked into the mic, "That's impossible. Even the most advanced missile would show up on radar. Sir, it's the truth. Both of us detected it. Plus, it left behind a massive white vapor trail in the sky. It's plain as day, and honestly, sir, I don't think a missile could leave a trail like that. It does look like something caused by a plane flying at high speeds. But to reach this level, it would have to be going at a hypersonic speed of at least Mach 10. Listening to the two pilots, the commander grew even more furious, barking out, "That's utter nonsense. What country's fighter jet could possibly reach such a ridiculous speed? If they could, there'd be no need to fight a war at all. The states could dominate the whole world in an instant. Report, Commander. We've detected the white contrails at high altitude, just like the pilots described. Plus, tons of people on the internet saw it too. They've posted photos online, and the estimated speed is predicted to be around Mach 12, just as they were speaking. Someone else rushed in to report. The military region commander was completely dumbfounded after hearing it. He couldn't help but curse. What the hell is that thing? Hurry up and track it on the radar. The entire military region is entering level 1 combat readiness immediately. No matter which country sent that aircraft. We must shoot it down. Report this to the military commission at once. The enemy might be launching a surprise attack on our nation. Report, Commander. There's absolutely nothing showing up on our radar. Their stealth technology is incredibly advanced. The radar operator was sweating bullets from the sheer panic. Hearing this, the commander's heart instantly leapt into his throat. His eyes widened in shock. He roared, "How is that even possible? Did you make a mistake somewhere? Maybe it's just a smokescreen deployed by the enemy, deliberately trying to confuse us." There's absolutely no mistake. I just ran the calculations based on the airflow trajectory in the sky. This is definitely a phenomenon that only a fighter jet could cause. And its speed is no less than Mach 12. An expert walked into the command room, his face looking incredibly grim. This man was Ma Dongfang, the head of the Eastern Military Region's Weapons Research Institute. His words carried absolute authority. The region commander stared blankly. What are we supposed to do now? We're not afraid of facing any enemy. We fear absolutely nothing, but this enemy is completely invisible and untouchable. They could launch an attack on us at any given moment, and the worst part is, we haven't even figured out who they are yet. I'm afraid only the states could possess such overwhelmingly powerful tech. They're purposely flying this fighter jet at blistering speeds right through our airspace, just to show off and intimidate us. Even if the enemy's jets are advanced, we need to activate all our air defense systems. Prepare for full-scale engagement. If the enemy dares to strike, we must at least intercept their missiles. The region commander immediately issued his orders. Sigh, I guess that's all we can do. Ma Dongfang let out a heavy sigh. Actually, there was one thing he left unsaid. If the enemy's fighter jets are already this advanced, can we really intercept their missiles? The Ministry of Defense received the report from the Eastern Military Region. They were equally on edge, treating it like a major crisis, and had already rapidly gathered a ton of related intel. An emergency meeting was currently underway. This is bullying at its absolute worst. A Mach 12 aircraft just flew over more than half of Shah's territory in the blink of an eye. What the hell is the states trying to pull? I suggest we lodge a formal, stern protest with them immediately. We have to make them stop all of their invasions. The Americans are playing so dirty. They're demanding we give up Sector 97. We just gave them a flat-out no, and they immediately show up to provoke us. They're trying to pressure us. Looks like they've been getting plenty of under-the-table kickbacks from our rivals in the south. The minister was absolutely furious, slamming his fist onto the table. Our nation's territorial integrity is absolutely inviolable. After flying for a while, the flight tutorial finally ended, and the jet's speed began to drop. Jo Kerr looked around at her surroundings, feeling completely lost and unfamiliar. Where in the world am I? She wondered, turning on flight navigation. Current location, near the Eastern Island nation. Jo Kerr was absolutely shocked. I flew all the way to the Eastern Islands already? But of course, the system replied. Since you were in tutorial mode the whole time, the top speed was capped at Mach 12. If you switch to combat mode, the top speed can be boosted up to Mach 15. Oh, I see. Well then, let's head back to base for now. Jo Kerr said. Back at the base, Zhao Tian and the other officers listened in. And they were absolutely stunned speechless. They originally thought that a top speed of Mach 12 was already the absolute limit. They never expected it could actually break Mach 15. This meant that even if the enemy launched a missile, our fighter jet could easily chase it down and destroy it. The group was panting with excitement. Zhao Tian quickly got on the comms, carefully warning Kerr. You must be extremely careful on your way back. Bring that plane home safely. What are all of you doing, crowding around like this? A stern, commanding voice suddenly rang out from behind them. It was none other than Zhou Zhenlong and Zhou Gohua. as senior military officers. What kind of behavior is this in the middle of a military zone? Zhou Gouhua's face darkened, getting ready to chew them out. Zhou Zhenlong, on the other hand, didn't say much. He just glanced around the room and asked in confusion, "Wait, where's Care? I thought she was coming over to wish me a happy birthday. Why isn't she here yet?" Everyone hesitated, looking like they wanted to say something but couldn't. Finally, Zhao Tian bit the bullet and spoke up. "Commander and Chief of Staff. I have something to report to you both. But please, you have to promise not to freak out when you hear this." "What is it? Just spit it out. Stop stuttering, it's embarrassing." Zhou Gouhua scolded him with a stern face. "Well, the situation is like this. Care actually got here a while ago. We were all hanging out, checking out the gifts. At first, we thought it was just a toy airplane model. So we let Care hop in just to play around with the controls and try out a little flight simulation. But who would have thought? The damn thing actually took off into the sky. She even shot down 2 invading enemy jets." Zhao Tian knew there was absolutely no way to hide this anymore. He had no choice but to carefully confess the entire story. "Ha ha ha, you bunch of little brats. Making up wild stories like this just to amuse an old man? Is that fun to you? Is Care just hiding somewhere? Hurry up and tell her to come out." Zhou Zhenlong didn't believe a single word of it, chuckling merrily as he spoke, reporting to the Chief of Staff. "Every single word I just said is the absolute truth. I'm not making any of this up. Everyone here can vouch for it. That plane actually took off." The crowd quickly chimed in to agree. Zhou Gouhua suddenly remembered what had just happened. Weren't there 2 American recon planes shot down just a moment ago? Could it actually be connected to this? His expression instantly turned deadly serious as he stared at the crowd. "You just said 2 enemy planes were shot down. Did someone tip you off in advance?" "No one tipped us off. We saw it with our own 2 eyes. Plus, the plane is still live streaming to this phone right now. Take a look for yourselves if you don't believe me." Zhao Tian quickly handed the phone over. Right there on the screen was live footage of Zhou Care sitting in the cockpit, flying the fighter jet. "Grandpa, Dad, I can actually fly a plane now." Zhou Care greeted them with thrilling excitement. Zhou Zhenlong and Zhou Gouhua were so shocked their eyes nearly popped out of their heads. "Where on earth are you right now?" Zhou Zhenlong demanded frantically. "I just finished the flight tutorial for this jet. I'm flying through Japanese airspace right now. I'm heading back home." "Why are you flying a fighter jet all by yourself? That's way too dangerous. You have to be incredibly careful." "Don't panic, sweetheart, don't panic." Zhou Zhenlong's voice was shaking with sheer terror. He was a nervous wreck. Wasn't this supposed to be just a toy model? How the hell is it actually flying? Zhou Gouhua looked grim. Zhao Tian quickly explained the whole story from start to finish. "The guy who took this custom order is Kei's classmate. I have a feeling this guy's background is unbelievably deep. He must be some kind of top-tier tech genius. Maybe he's using this as an excuse to hand over advanced weaponry to us. But what I can't figure out is, why isn't someone this brilliant working for a national research lab? Well, since he gave the jet to Care, he must have a crush on her. Let's have Care stay in touch with him first. Once we know the full story, we can figure out our next move." Zhou Zhenlong suggested, while everyone was busy speculating. Zhou Care was still flying the jet through Japanese airspace. Suddenly, another fighter jet flew straight at her out of nowhere. The 2 jets practically scraped against each other as they blew past. Enemy aircraft detected, locked on by enemy fire control radar. Automatically engaging combat mode, the jet violently accelerated, instantly shooting up into the sky. Zhou Kei's first instinct was to shake off the plane on her tail as fast as possible. Hearing the alarm blasting through the phone, Zhou Zhenlong and the others instantly panicked. They stared wildly at the screen, and as the camera angle switched, they saw a fighter jet hot on her tail. "Oh my god, that's an F-60, the most advanced American fighter jet. Get out of there, fall back right now." Zhou Zhenlong screamed, losing his mind with worry. His heart was pounding out of his chest. If the Americans dared to open fire, I swear to God I'll make them pay. Zhou Govua roared furiously. Little did they know, the American pilot was currently scared out of his mind, too. The fighter jet's radar couldn't lock onto the target at all. There wasn't even a blip on the radar screen. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed there was a fighter jet flying right in front of him. Even if you're a stealth fighter, there is no way I'm letting you get away. The American pilot slammed the throttle all the way down and gave chase. He fired his missiles straight away, trying to take it down with heat-seeking tracking. The G-50 fighter's system alarm went off. Enemy aircraft attacking. Requesting counterattack authorization. What are you waiting for? Shoot him down right now. Before Zhou Care could even speak, Zhou Zhenlong had already roared out. Initiate counterattack. Zhou Care immediately issued the command. Whoosh! As soon as her words fell, a missile shot out. At the same time, the G-50 fighter suddenly accelerated, leaving the incoming missiles in the dust in the blink of an eye. The American pilot simply couldn't believe his eyes. That mysterious fighter suddenly sped up, vanishing from sight in a split second. Warning, warning, the American pilot was scared out of his wits. Before he could even react, boom, his jet was hit by the missile. Meanwhile, the two heat-seeking missiles he fired suddenly lost their target. They actually turned around and locked onto a factory on the ground, because the factory's smokestack was emitting the highest heat at that moment. Boom, boom, two massive explosions shook the earth. The factory was instantly leveled. The surviving Japanese locals were completely stunned. They ran for their lives in pure panic. Right after that, the flaming wreckage of the downed fighter crashed into the ground. Tons of people pulled out their phones, recorded videos, and posted them online. The Japanese government couldn't cover it up even if they tried. The whole world went into an absolute uproar. Zhou Zhenlong witnessed the entire process through his phone. He was trembling all over with excitement. This fighter jet is just too freaking awesome. With this baby in our hands, anyone who dares to mess with our nation of Shah will never make it back alive. Oh, right, pass down my orders immediately. Lock down the military base's airport. Everything you saw today is top secret. If anyone dares to leak even half a word of this, they will be charged with treason on the spot. Zhou Zhenlong had been holding his frustration in for over a year. Now he could finally hold his head up high. I'm calling the higher-ups to report this right now. This new fighter must be classified as top secret. Also, shooting down an American jet over Japan is something the higher-ups need to know about in advance, so they can prepare a response. The entire Central Military Command was put on high alert, waiting for the jet to return. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Defense was holding a meeting. Suddenly, they received a classified document. The defense minister opened it and took a quick glance. He froze on the spot. The Eastern Military Command reports that a mysterious fighter jet suddenly appeared and shot down two of America's latest reconnaissance planes. And they confirmed that this mysterious jet is not ours. Their analysis suggests it most likely belongs to Russia. This jet flies ridiculously fast, and its stealth capabilities are top-notch. Our radars can't detect it at all. One official turned pale with shock. Could the strange incident that just happened in our Eastern Military Command be the work of this very jet? I suggest we immediately file a stern diplomatic protest with Russia, strongly condemn them for invading our airspace, and we must force Russia to guarantee that this will absolutely never happen again. But we don't have any evidence. What if the Bear Nation refuses to admit it? The Minister of Defense muttered, his brows tightly furrowed. Report, breaking news, something massive just happened over in the Sun Nation. An Eagle Nation fighter jet suddenly crashed, right after taking off. And before it went down, it fired two missiles straight into a factory. It caused heavy casualties. All the officials in the room were completely dumbfounded. The Eagle Nation has military bases in the Sun Nation, mainly set up to target our Shah Nation. They've deployed their most advanced main fighter jets there. How on earth could a crash like that happen? Even if it did crash, it wouldn't just fire off missiles at random. There is definitely some hidden truth behind this that hasn't come out yet. I suggest we send someone to investigate immediately. A military expert instantly caught on to the intel hidden in the news. The Minister of Defense immediately gave the order. Dispatch a team to run a thorough investigation right away. Let's see what kind of shady tricks the Sun Nation is hiding. After giving the order, the Minister of Defense muttered to himself, what in the world is going on today? So many ridiculous things happening in a single day. Minister, Elder Joe, the Chief of Staff of the Central Military Region, is on the line. He says he has a critical situation to report. Put him through, quickly. The Minister of Defense's heart skipped a beat. Don't tell me it's more bad news. Hello? This is Dao Yuanchu. Here is the situation. The one who shot down the Eagle Nation's fighter jet was actually our very own brand new fighter jet. The plane accidentally drifted into the Sun Nation's airspace and casually shot down one of the Eagle Nation's F-60 fighters while it was at it. But they were the ones who fired first. We were strictly acting in self-defense. What did you just say? Our fighter jet? Didn't the report from earlier specifically state that the jet didn't belong to our country? If we had a fighter jet this advanced, how could your military region possibly not know about it? Dao Yuanchu's eyes widened in disbelief. He felt like his brain was about to short-circuit. It is a long story. I only just found out myself. The plane is currently on its way back. I have already locked down the entire military region. Word of this absolutely will not leak out. Zhou Zhenlong sounded incredibly helpless. After all this panic, the mysterious jet turned out to be ours all along. How ridiculous is that? This is not something to joke around about. Are you absolutely sure? Dao Yuanchu asked, needing confirmation again. I swear to you, every word I just said is the truth. The one flying the jet is my own granddaughter. There is absolutely no mistake. The jet is about to land back at the base any minute now. I need to hurry up and get ready to receive her. I will submit a fully detailed report to you as soon as possible. After saying that, Zhou Zhenlong hung up the phone directly. Dao Yuanchu stood there holding the phone, looking completely dumbfounded. Since when did Elder Zhou's granddaughter join the Air Force? What happened? Everyone's eyes in the room instantly turned toward the Minister of Defense. Dao Yuanchu spoke up. That was a call from Elder Zhou. Up in the airspace above the Central Military Region, the one that shot down the Eagle Nation's recon plane was actually our own fighter jet. On top of that, the Eagle Nation's fighter jet that just crashed in the Sun Nation was also shot down by us. As for the Eastern Military Region, and all those strange phenomena people have been spotting online, those were probably just caused by our jet flying way too fast, creating those visual effects. The moment Dao Yuanchu finished speaking, the tense and heavy atmosphere in the meeting room was instantly swept away. Everyone immediately burst into excited and joyful chatter. Some even suggested releasing data on the new fighter jet. To deter the US, let's all calm down for a second. We still have a very urgent and tricky matter to handle. Even though Dao Yuanchu was thrilled after taking that call, the problem right in front of him gave him a massive headache. Yes, the new fighter jet had been successfully developed, but right in front of American military experts, it shot down 2 of their planes. And what's even crazier, it flew all the way over to Japan and shot down another American fighter jet. How on earth are we going to cover all this up? It's a massive headache. Luckily, the chief is the absolute best at handling this kind of stuff. It's time for the Strategic Misleading Agency to step up. Seeing all eyes on him, the chief straightened his posture, brimming with confidence. Just leave it all to me. I guarantee I'll handle this flawlessly. Tang Yuanchu said with a grave expression. This matter deeply affects the stability of our current situation. We must be extremely cautious. We have to completely wash our hands of any responsibility. We absolutely cannot draw fire onto ourselves, let alone give Western countries any more excuses to target us. We must make the rest of the world believe that none of this has anything to do with us. The chief just smiled and replied, you guys still haven't grasped the true essence of our agency. In the past, our goal really was to make Western countries believe that we were lagging behind and posed no threat. But I think things are completely different now. Right now, every country is locked in an arms race. If you fall behind, you get beaten. If you're weak, you get bullied. So, let's take full advantage of this opportunity. We need to deny absolutely everything, while simultaneously making our enemies feel that we have actually mastered advanced weaponry. This way, we plant a seed of doubt in their minds, so they won't dare to casually invade our territory anymore. Brilliant, as expected of the chief. This strategy really is the best course of action right now. We don't just deny it, we also make them feel like we really do have advanced weapons to strike fear into them. Sure enough, fear of the unknown is the most powerful weapon. The Ministry of Defense quickly finalized their strategy and immediately issued a public statement. Due to extreme weather conditions, some abnormal meteorological phenomena have occurred. However, there is absolutely no need to worry. The white cloud formations seen in the sky are just unique weather patterns and pose absolutely no danger. But when the news dropped, absolutely nobody bought it. Do you guys actually believe this official excuse? They're totally playing us. Yeah, it's way too absurd. So many people saw a huge black object flying across the sky at breakneck speed. Explain that. If it's just weather, then what the heck was that black flying object? Could it be a test flight for a new advanced weapon? If so, that would be awesome. The US has been way too arrogant lately. They've been constantly invading our airspace and spying on our military bases. It'd be perfect if we actually shot their jets down. Seeing that the netizens weren't buying it at all, a bunch of military experts and even meteorologists started going on TV and online to educate the public. They adamantly denied that the bizarre phenomena were caused by a weapon. But the scientific theories they used to explain it couldn't hold water at all. They were so full of holes that the internet just treated the whole thing like a massive joke. That didn't matter. As long as the government didn't officially admit it, nobody could do a thing about it. It wasn't long before Joe Kerr safely flew the fighter jet back to base. At the landing strip, there was a guard every 5 steps and a sentry every 10. The soldiers were fully armed and on high alert. System recommends vertical landing mode. It's not just fast and easy, but also much safer. As for Kerr, she had zero professional training in landing a jet. Right when she was panicking, the system prompt chimed in perfectly. She eagerly agreed, activate vertical landing. They had the runway all prepped, but seeing the jet just hovering in midair and slowly descending straight down, everyone's eyes practically popped out of their heads. They stared up at the plane, wondering, are we seeing things? This fighter jet actually has vertical takeoff and landing capabilities? Joe Govua was absolutely stunned. Watching the jet touch down gently, he rushed over immediately. The cockpit popped open automatically, and Kerr hopped out. She threw herself straight into Zhou Zhenlong's arms. Grandpa, Dad, I totally know how to fly a fighter jet now. Are you hurt? Are you feeling okay? Tell Grandpa right now, let's get a medic to check you over. I'm perfectly fine, not a scratch on me. I was terrified at first, but the AI on this thing is insane. It doesn't just fly itself on autopilot, it literally guides you through everything in midair. Kerr was bursting with excitement, the adrenaline still pumping through her veins. She actually flew that jet and shot down 3 enemy planes. Man, I wouldn't have even dared to dream of something like that before. That's wonderful, you really are my amazing granddaughter. You've done an incredible service for our country today. Thanks to this massive victory, I bet those arrogant bullies won't dare trespass on our turf ever again. Zhou Zhenlong's eyes were welling up with proud tears. By the way, did you really buy this jet from a classmate? Didn't you say it was just a model? How on earth did he build the real deal? And such an advanced one at that? Joe Govua pressed her eagerly. Kerr looked just as baffled. Only a week ago, I went to see my classmate, Lin Hai. I told him to build a model plane, but I insisted it had to look exactly like the real thing. And I told him to add every single feature he could think of. But I never in a million years thought he'd actually build a real fighter jet. Joe Govua's expression turned incredibly serious. You have to understand. The tech on this fighter jet is way ahead of its time. Even our entire nation couldn't build something like this right now. This Lin Hai must have a genius mentor backing him. Talent like this cannot go to waste. We have to convince him to join the Central Military District's Weapons Research Lab. He needs to put those skills to use for the country. Wait, you're saying Lin Hai didn't build this plane himself? Kerr was completely taken aback. There is no way. A top-tier fighter jet like this? Even if you put 1,000 top scientists in a room, they couldn't develop this so fast. He definitely has some master genius working behind the scenes. Or even a massive technical team, Zhou Zhenlong said with a dead serious expression. I'll call him right now and ask. Even though Zhou Care was secretly thrilled, he was still pretty annoyed with Lin Hai. She had specifically asked for a model airplane. But he delivered an actual, real-life fighter jet. Thank goodness this plane was highly intelligent. If she hadn't figured out how to fly it, the consequences would be absolutely unthinkable. The phone rang a few times, and was quickly answered. Hey, Lin Hai. It's Zhou Care. Oh, the model airplane should have been delivered by now, right? Did you see it? Are you happy with it? Happy? Oh, I am extremely happy, Zhou Care said through gritted teeth. I couldn't possibly be any happier. I can't believe your plane works exactly like a real one. And flew straight into the sky. It nearly scared me to death. I shouted in surprise, wait, you've already flown the plane? Didn't you tell me to make it exactly like the real deal? And to add every single feature that could possibly be added? I just followed your exact instructions. I added a takeoff function, maxed out its flight capabilities, and even equipped it with stealth mode, a missile weapon system, and super radar functions. Hearing what I said, the military officers standing nearby all looked at each other in sheer disbelief. He caused such a massive disaster, yet he's actually defending himself with so much confidence. The girl just wanted a simple model airplane. But you crazy guy, went ahead and built a real one. Thank God it was delivered straight to the military base. If this fighter jet had fallen into the wrong hands, the catastrophic consequences are just too terrifying to even imagine. Zhou Kei's temper flared up even more. Since it can actually fly like a real plane, why on earth didn't you tell me sooner? No, wait, this plane is incredibly smart. All you have to do is ask for the operating instructions, and the jet will demonstrate every single feature for you. How was I supposed to know you hadn't even figured out the controls before flying it straight up into the sky? I felt incredibly helpless myself. First of all, this was a reward given by the tech system. To complete my mission, I had no choice but to build it. Secondly, Zhou Care was planning to send the jet to the military base anyway. Logically speaking, with a plane this realistic, they'd definitely have professional pilots inspect it first. I never expected her to be so gutsy, daring to personally take it for a spin herself. Are you okay? Even if you've never learned how to fly, it's totally fine to just take off. Because this fighter jet is super intelligent. It can fly on autopilot. Plus, if it detects any danger, it can automatically trigger the right defensive moves. Learning while up in the air works exactly the same. I said, oh sure, no serious consequences at all. I just happened to shoot down 3 American enemy fighter jets, that's all. Zhou Care gritted her teeth, furiously spitting out every single word. Ah, my head is literally spinning. You're not messing with me, right? How could there be such an insane coincidence? I completely never expected things to turn out this way, and I was absolutely dumbfounded. I even had the sudden urge to just run away immediately. The one flying that fighter jet was me. How could I possibly be joking with you? As Zhou Care thought back to what had just happened, her heart was still pounding with absolute panic. Zhou Zhenlong and Zhou Gohua exchanged a meaningful glance, both showing an expression that said, just as we thought. They speculated that I knew from the very beginning this was a real fighter jet, and only charging a fee of 6 million was just an excuse to donate the jet to the nation. I mean, shooting down those enemy jets should totally count as a major military merit. You guys aren't going to punish me, right? I asked nervously. Oh, it won't come to that. My dad and my grandpa are actually super thrilled about it, Zhou Care replied. Let me have a word with him. Zhou Zhenlong had figured it all out, and decided to speak with me directly. Hello there, I'm Kei's grandfather, and also the chief of staff for the Central Military Region, as well as the director of the Weapons Research Institute. I nearly jumped out of my skin. I only knew her grandpa was retired Air Force. I had no idea he was such a big shot. Hello, sir, I'm Lin Hai. I heard from Care that this fighter jet was custom built at your place. May I ask who exactly built it? It was me. I designed and built the jet for Care all by myself, I replied. Looks like the real master behind him is dead set on staying hidden. Better not push too hard, or I might tick them off. And then we'd never get our hands on the full tech, Zhou Zhenlong thought to himself. So, he took a different approach. You really are a young prodigy, he praised. To build such an incredible jet at your age is truly outstanding. I'd like to ask you something. Could you hand over the complete set of technical blueprints to the state? Now, don't you worry. The government won't just take your hard work for nothing. You go ahead and name your price. As long as it's within reason, we can definitely make it happen. Sure, no problem, since it's useful to the country, I'd be more than happy to hand over the complete blueprints to the government. As for the price, just pay whatever you think is fair. I trust you won't shortchange me, sir. I was originally planning to just give it away for free, but making weapons with the super processing platform still costs money. If I want to keep providing the state with even more advanced tech, I really needed to charge a little something. How does 50 million sound? Zhou Zhenlong offered. My eyes nearly popped out of my head. My heart was pounding so hard it almost burst from my chest. 50 million. I couldn't spend that in a lifetime. Sure, compared to the true value of the technology, it was just a drop in the bucket. If I took this to the international market, I could easily sell it for tens or even hundreds of billions. And foreign countries would be fighting tooth and nail for it. But I had my super processing platform and my tech system. Since I could just buy the raw materials from outside, the actual costs were incredibly low. 50 million was more than enough. Deal. 50 million it is. Let me get the tech files sorted out. How should I send them over? Zhou Zhenlong was completely caught off guard. He never expected me to agree so easily. He figured the 50 million offer would get rejected immediately. He had intentionally low-balled the price, just to bait out the real mastermind behind the jet. He had no idea I wouldn't play by the rules at all. Is this kid actually trying to just donate the tech to the state? Otherwise, there's no way he'd accept a 50 million quote. Whatever, as long as they're willing to keep feeding us this advanced tech, that's all that matters. No need to force the real expert out. I'll have Care go over and pick them up. You can just hand the files over to her, Zhou Zhenlong said. Not a problem at all. I'll compile all the data and load it onto a flash drive for her. Just come and get it. I agreed without a second thought. After hanging up the phone, Zhou Zhenlong frowned deeply. He's willing to take just 50 million for the complete set of technical blueprints. Once we have those blueprints, we'll be able to build this fighter jet in no time. Zhou Zhenlong told the group, and everyone was absolutely thrilled. That's fantastic, as long as the tech is real. That price is a total steal. Then what are we waiting for? Let's make the deal right away. If we can mass produce this fighter jet, we'll never have to worry about the United States invading our airspace again. I have a task for you, and you need to handle it carefully, Zhou Zhenlong said with a serious tone. No problem, Grandpa. Just say the word. This Lin Hai is no ordinary kid. And there's absolutely a top-tier technical expert backing him up. From now on, I need you to stay close to him. Find out who's really pulling the strings and holds this technology. It would be even better if you could persuade them to work for the country. So what you're saying, Grandpa, is that Lin Hai didn't build this jet? Joe Care asked. Isn't it obvious? He's just a college student. How could he possibly understand all this advanced tech? Joe Gohua chimed in. I understand. I'll get to the bottom of this. Joe Care agreed. After all of this, she became incredibly curious about me, determined to uncover all my secrets. Alright, transport this fighter jet to the Weapons Research Institute. Have all our experts examine it first. Once we get our hands on those blueprints, we'll arrange for production immediately. Also, anyone who has come into contact with this new aircraft is strictly forbidden from leaving the military base without direct orders. Zhou Zhenlong fired off his orders. The jet was transported to the military's Weapons Research Institute, where the experts immediately began measuring and analyzing it. But as they started taking it apart, the internal structure left everyone completely baffled. Wait a minute. Why doesn't this jet have a fuel tank? Forget the fuel tank, even the engine isn't a traditional combustion engine. What kind of tech is this? Is it running on electricity or something? That's completely impossible. Even if the entire jet was packed full of batteries, it still wouldn't provide enough power. The experts exchanged bewildered looks, as the exact same thought crossed their minds. It's powered by nuclear fusion. Just who exactly built this thing? Who would be crazy enough to put a nuclear reactor in a jet? A miniature, controllable nuclear fusion reactor. Is this even something humanity can build right now? The experts just stared at each other, their faces filled with absolute shock. No wonder. This thing can fly at speeds over Mach 10, and the metal on the hull is completely unheard of. Its structural strength is several times stronger than titanium alloy, but its tested density is only 1/3 that of aluminum, and to be able to spot the United States stealth fighters and actually shoot them down, that means its radar system must be ridiculously advanced too. We need to study this right now and get it into mass production. We can use it on all our military aircraft and fighter jets. Every single piece of tech on this plane has absolutely blown the experts' minds. After arguing over it for hours, they finally came to one conclusion. With our current technology, there is absolutely no way to reverse engineer this jet. If we want to build it, there is only one way. We have to track down the guy who built this model and bring him in as our lead consultant, because the technology in this model jet is just insanely advanced, from the materials and radar to the propulsion and power systems. Our guys cannot figure out a single thing. The engineers immediately reported all this to Zhou Zhenlong. Zhou Zhenlong was completely stunned when he heard this. What? You have the actual prototype right in front of you, and you still cannot copy it? I am afraid so, sir. The hardest part of all is the material the jet is made of. It is a completely unknown metal. It is incredibly light, but remarkably strong. It is literally the perfect material for building aircraft. We could not even pierce the hull with a sniper rifle. So its combat durability is totally off the charts. But as for the material itself, we cannot even begin to analyze its chemical makeup. The tech level is light years ahead of our current era. Secondly, we suspect this jet is running on a nuclear propulsion system. It is essentially a miniaturized, controlled nuclear fusion reactor. With the tools we have right now, we cannot even risk taking the plane apart. If we accidentally damage the power core, the explosion would be as powerful as a nuclear bomb. Hearing the engineer's report, Zhou Zhenlong was both terrified and thrilled. Well, if that is the case, halt all research operations for now. We will not touch it again until we get our hands on the blueprints. And I will find a way to bring the real genius who designed this jet straight to us. We are going to have him build us a brand new fleet. Following her grandfather's orders, Zhou Care rushed straight over to my place. Why are you here so early? Aren't we supposed to be going to your grandpa's birthday party? As for the jet's blueprints, I was planning to just give them to you at school tomorrow, I told her. With a crisis like this going on, who is in the mood for a birthday party? They even canceled an entire military drill. That model jet I ordered from you is now under maximum security lockdown at the Military Weapons Research Lab. Every top engineer they have is obsessing over it right now. Zhou Care flashed a sly, knowing smile, and looked straight at me. Come on, level with me. Who actually designed this plane? Are they just using you as a middleman? Secretly donate this tech to the government? Hearing this, I honestly did not know whether to laugh or cry. Who could have predicted it would turn into such a massive misunderstanding? Why would I lie to you? I literally designed and built that jet with my own 2 hands. Here, let me show you my workshop. Sure, she replied. I am pretty curious to see where you built that thing. My workshop was basically a massive, open warehouse. The shelves were packed with all kinds of models. Planes, artillery, tanks, ships, you name it. And every single piece was incredibly detailed. Zhou Care stared closely at a model plane just over 20 centimeters long and asked curiously. These models are so tiny, can they actually fly? Of course they can. Though, these ones fly a bit on the slower side. They only top out at a few hundred kilometers an hour. They are totally fine for civilian use. But if you want to use them in the military, the specs are definitely a bit lacking. Wait, from what you are saying, you can actually mass-produce these? A more powerful, small military aircraft. Jo Care immediately caught the main point. She quickly followed up, you mean a drone, right? You want a military drone with better performance? Of course, no problem. I answered seriously. Then, could you build me another remote-controlled drone? But the price can't be too high. I really don't have much spare cash left, Jo Care said. Sure, no problem, just come pick it up in 3 days. If it weren't for Jo K's massive order, I wouldn't have been able to awaken my tech system so smoothly. So, I plan to build a top-tier small drone. As a way to thank Jo Care. Oh, by the way, I came here today on a mission from my grandpa. He wants to invite you to join the military district's Weapon Research Institute. You can name whatever salary you want. Jo Care said. I hesitated a bit after hearing that. The Weapon Research Institute is definitely a dream job for a lot of people. Not only does it pay incredibly well, but the social status is also super high. But now that I have this tech system, I need to rely on it to make money. The more money I make, the more tech and skills I can unlock. If I join the Weapon Institute and have to clock in every single day, how am I supposed to make money? I definitely don't want to lose my freedom. What's with that look? Don't tell me you weren't actually the one who built that fighter jet. Are you scared of blowing your cover once you get into the institute? Jo Care asked with a teasing smirk. It's nothing like that, since I gave you guys the technical blueprints. You'll definitely run into issues during production. You can always come ask me if you have any questions. But as for actually joining the institute, I really just can't spare that much time. I knew you'd turn down the institute's offer, Jo Care said. But I have a compromise that might help with your worries. Grandpa said. He can give you the title of technical advisor. Whenever you have some free time, just drop by the institute to give some guidance. And if the institute runs into a problem they can't solve, you can just come over and help out. That way, it won't interfere with your other stuff at all. If that's the case, I guess I could think about it. I actually thought this proposal sounded pretty good. It wouldn't take up too much of my time, and I could still contribute to the country. I really did want to do my part for the nation, too. Stop hesitating, I'm gonna go tell Grandpa right now. That you've agreed, alright then, here's all the data for the fighter jet. You can just take it back with you. I handed the USB drive to Jo Care. Jo Care took the USB drive and immediately dialed Zhou Zhenlong's number. Grandpa, I've got some great news for you. I've confirmed it, Lin Hai really did build that fighter jet all by himself. And he's already agreed to be the technical advisor for the Weapon Research Institute. Zhou Zhenlong had been waiting for this good news, and he immediately said, excellent. Ask Lin Hai if he's free right now. Our technical experts are studying the new jet. And they've run into quite a few problems. Can he come over and give us some guidance? Jo Care looked at me and said, Grandpa says they've run into some trouble studying the new jet. Do you have time to head over and help them out right now? No problem, I agreed without hesitation. Since this fighter jet was actually able to shoot down America's newest recon plane. It's gonna be a massive help to our country's military development. I also hope we can get these new fighter jets into mass production as soon as possible. When we arrived at the Weapons Research Institute, Zhou Zhenlong looked me up and down, his eyes gleaming. He nodded in satisfaction. Not bad, it's true what they say, the youth really are our greatest heroes. We'll be counting on you heavily for the R&D of the new jets. No problem, sir, I'll give it my absolute all. Alright, enough with the pleasantries. We've got a ton of questions to ask. The group of tech experts were already getting impatient. A gray-haired expert stepped up and asked me, what kind of metal is the outer shell of this jet made of? How can it be so amazingly lightweight, yet have such insane structural strength? This metal is a titanium gold alloy. It's created using a special process, blending over 30 different metals, including titanium, aluminum, and magnesium. The exact manufacturing process is all in the files. Hearing this, someone immediately plugged the flash drive into a computer, and the materials expert began studying it intently. The other technicians quickly fired off more questions. What kind of tech is the radar on this jet using? How on earth did it detect and lock onto a stealth fighter? Because it's a quantum radar, it can detect targets up to 20,000 kilometers away. Stealth jets literally have nowhere to hide from it. Wait a minute, is the jet's propulsion system nuclear powered? How did you manage to design a nuclear reactor this compact? The propulsion system is powered by controllable nuclear fusion. Not only does it keep the flight costs incredibly low, but the flight endurance is off the charts. As they listened to my explanations, all the experts stood there in stunned silence, completely dumbfounded. They simply couldn't wrap their heads around the fact that a young kid like me had actually mastered so much highly advanced technology.